The closer it gets, it constantly slows down, so you will never hit your target. That's so crazy to me.
Elder Kai tells Shin that getting close to Goku in Beerus' fight would lead his body to being disintegrated.
Wow, what? This makes no sense. Basically, wait guys, what's good with y'all? Today we're watching Stop Debating Goku vs. Gojo by my boy Six right here. Y'all love the death battle video. Everybody was going crazy when we were watching that whole death battle thing going on with Superman vs. Goku, and we watched a bunch of others as well. I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of the you're not beating Goku camp unless you are somebody so broken like Superman, or I know Saint Seiya definitely got some type of character that beat Goku. Like unless you got like a stupid cracked ability, I think Goku is probably gonna beat you. I think Goku is watching Gojo with his eyes closed, but I don't really know for real. We're gonna see what this guy gotta say. I'm assuming he's gonna say Goku's better. I'm assuming. We gonna see though. What y'all thinking? Y'all thinking Gojo beating Goku in a fight? I'm saying hell nah, bro. Yeah, everything in DB's canon now. Yeah, I saw Toyotaro said that, bro. Because if that's true, bro, Universe Street Goku whipping I got Universe Street Goku over anybody. Goku got too many hacks. He's not Superman level hacks. Superman has got too much. If a comic book character predates 1950, I'm not gonna lie, Goku's losing. A lot of characters, like superheroes in particular, bro, from that early, they was just doing stuff, bro. Like it was crazy the amount that they was just pulling out of their booty, bro. Like we was watching the death battle. This man Superman was like pulling planets and solar systems by a chain, and that's a power when that's clearly a gag. That's one thing I hate about power scaling, bro. They take gags and actually power scale it, bro. Like it's so clearly a gag. That's not a power that nigga actually has. When Goku broke the manga panel, people be saying, "Oh, he got Toon Force. He got this, that, the third. Like he's like omnipresent or whatever." Like, bro, no, bro, this was a joke. Like, bro, this was a joke. Like, especially with something like Superman. Like, Superman is just too much cracked stuff for everything he does to be like canon to his power. Like, F off, bro. F off. Let's start this video, bro.
With Gojo being introduced to the anime community with the wild success of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 1, he, like many others before him, got thrown into the "can he beat Goku" conversations. But it's pretty conclusive that no one thinks Gojo is actually stronger than Goku, and thinks either Goku just can't touch him due to his infinity, or he would overwhelm Goku with his domain expansion Infinite Void.
I just think Goku would just hack through it, bro. Especially seeing like how Jiren was moving in the Tournament of Power. One thing that will always piss me off. Hit is one of my favorite characters in DB, bro. How they hold him was actually so disrespectful. It had like a time jail that like froze time or something. And this nigga was walking out of it through sheer force of will. How do you break time through sheer force of will? Let me know. Yeah, this right here, like, come on, bro. Just breaks time, like, bro, come on. And he says, what rubbish about time? He's talking about the concept of time. What rubbish, bro?
Can Goku bypass infinity, and can Goku survive in the unlimited void? Since, just being honest, if he does, Gojo is cooked without a way to actually win. Let's start by explaining Gojo's curse technique, or rather the neutral application of it being his infinity. To put things simply, this is spatial manipulation that causes things to slow down as they approach Gojo.
So, like, the closer it gets, it constantly slows down, so you will never hit your target. It's like it keeps halving the distance, so you'll never actually hit it. Apparently, that's a thing. That it's mathematical. If you keep having something, you'll never hit zero. That's so crazy to me. You will never hit zero. No matter how much you have something, you will I don't even know how that's possible. Like, let's say you got like a bagel. If you just kept cutting a bagel, would you not run out of things to cut? Like, I understand it's just half, but I don't know. I don't know. It just seems ridiculous to think of. He said that forehead holding all knowledge, bro. You think I was born with this to be stupid? Let's use our brains here.
Achilles and the tortoise are set to compete in a foot race, wherein the tortoise is given a head start. After Achilles starts to move in an attempt to pass the tortoise, he's first going to have to cover the distance that the tortoise had already moved. In the time it takes Achilles to do this, the tortoise would already have moved another distance away from that point. So Achilles would then have to cover that distance as well, which gives the tortoise time to cover even more distance. Logically, this would go on forever, and no matter how small the gap got, Achilles would still have to cover the distance the tortoise made while he makes even more distance. Eventually, this would look like the two of them are not even moving. Like I mentioned earlier, this is a paradox that denies motion entirely. This is what Gojo's limitless curse technique does. He makes this paradox a reality and is able to stop his opponents or objects from reaching him. Down in the Shibuya train station in chapter 85, Gojo tells Jogo and Hanmi that if they plan on trying to neutralize his infinity with their domain amplification, he'll simply counter by strengthening his curse technique. And we see that when he does this, the finite barrier grows larger in size.
And this is where he crushes Hanmi with his aura, right?
Dragon Ball is no stranger to space-time manipulation, but let's come at this from a more interesting angle before we get into that. This has to do with the output of curse techniques and the way to neutralize them.
Goku probably just punched through it. I'm not gonna lie, Goku's punching through it, bro. Yeah, stop my nigga Munchie, bro. Goku can sneeze and beat this pretty boy. I would have said pretty boy. Pause on all that. Pretty boy is crazy. I ain't say all that, twin. I ain't say all that. He can sneeze and beat him though. Pretty boy is crazy. Hold on, twin.
Gojo says even though Sukuna can negate the low output neutral limitless with his domain amplification, he can't completely negate the higher output blue and red. This falls in line with something he says to Jogo and Hanmi in Shibuya, stating that if they try and negate his limitless, he'll just make his technique stronger, and when he does that, he overpowers the domain amplification. Earlier, Gojo mentions that domain amplification is like simple domain, and if you think of barrier techniques as boxes or prisons that trap their target, then domain amplification is as if you're being surrounded by water. Maybe it's a similar feeling to when you initially push back against the domain. The chances of an attack missing will increase, but it will always neutralize the technique, and with that method, he was now vulnerable to attacks.
I like how the domain system is set up. It's low-key kind of confusing because Gegi, he never explains it well, but I like the power system. But that's a flaw on him, and that's a flaw in the manga. He does not explain it well. I should not have to go to a YouTube video to like understand it even more. Who's the lottery nigga with the slot machine power up? That and how Gojo was fighting Sukuna and how like he got his arm cut off. Things like that, bro. It's like people are like, "Oh, you just can't read," but it gets to a point. Like I can read the page back 5 times and I still will not get it. I'm not gonna call myself slow, nigga. You just explained it terrible. When someone on a YouTube video says it, I understand it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's that just like you just don't explain it well. JK can get crazy complicated like Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter is not as complicated though. I think JJK low-key be complicated just to be complicated. I don't think Hunter x Hunter is to that extent. Hunter x Hunter got a lot that you gotta remember, like, you know, the specialists and like all those different like Nen forms, stuff like that. But like when it actually gets to a fight, it's not that complicated to know. It's really not. It's what you get to where the manga is right now. It's like, yeah, bro, low-key be bugging. But I don't think what the anime has, like when it actually gets to, okay, we're using Nen in a 1v1 fight, it's never confusing. I've never got confused.
In other words, if Goku hits Infinity really hard with a Ki Punch or Kamehameha Wave, it should break straight through it, given this logic. There are a bit more examples of this as well. A couple more examples in the Sukuna vs Gojo fight are Gojo using simple domain, but then it being confirmed that compared to the output of a regular domain, a simple domain will only buy time. And then later when Gojo uses Falling Blossom in motion, it's confirmed that nothing can really match the giant output of a domain. It's possible that even if this argument is true, it might just be a cursed energy versus cursed energy thing that can overpower the output, not necessarily just an overall stronger technique. Meaning even though Goku's Kamehameha should be stronger than Jogo's domain amplification, it wouldn't be able to do the same thing since it's not cursed energy. This means you could take it one of two ways, either doing what people call verse equalization, where you make Ki and cursed energy equal for the sake of a battle, or you can say that it's only a cursed energy thing and you're not willing to do verse equalization, so this method wouldn't work. To sum this part up, there are 4 ways to go about this. 1, verse equalization, which I just explained. 2, not using the verse equalization. 3, saying Goku could overpower Infinity with greater force due to higher output. Or 4, say I'm wrong about this and move on to the second way I think Gojo could get past Infinity.
I think Goku would just rip through it. I think like he gave 4, I think Goku would just rip through it. I think it's that simple.
Slightly higher than
Goku would just punch through it, bro. He'd be like, nice hacks, watch this, start screaming in Super Saiyan 3. Punch through that nigga, bro.
Like I mentioned earlier, Dragon Ball is no stranger to spatial manipulation.
Said Goku dragon fisting? Nah, I swear, he's actually dragon fisting through that with no effort, staring at him and winning, bro.
Proving the hyperbolic time chamber is a separate time space is extremely easy. I doubt anyone really needs proof of this, but it's stated to be a separate dimension, and that time moves differently there. The only connection between the 2 dimensions is this door that, when destroyed, locks the person inside the time chamber. The anime of Dragon Ball Z adds a bit more consistency to Dragon Ball characters being able to do things like this, as Wuhan takes this technique to a far higher scale and starts breaking down the dimensional barriers in the real world to crush the entire universe under alternate dimensions.
I remember that too, yeah. Bro, I'm telling you, bro, sometimes they be just doing straight BS. What does this even mean? What is causing space to warp at this rate? The walls from the dimension will break down, other dimensions will worse. Like, what?
Goku's ki starts to also cross dimensional barriers and reach the Kaioshin realm, a feat Kibito believes to be unbelievable. This map of the universe of Dragon Ball does prove the Kaioshin realm is not within the main universe.
He can just be writing stuff that sounds strong. I swear, like when that is some of the stuff don't even make sense for real.
Planet Kaioshin makes up the center of the Kaioshin realm. Planet Kaioshin is a solitary planet in the Kaio realm, and around it there are numerous tiny suns. The only people in the Kaioshin realm are Kaioshin and Kibito, who acts as support. This is just additional evidence since it confirms the Kaioshin realm is separate once again by saying there are only 2 people who live in it and there is only 1 planet.
Writing for aura points, high key.
Seemingly
High key. This is totally making sense. This makes no sense. Basically, what this nigga is saying. Is. Wait, guys. Wait. Brain fart. No. I'm God. I'm gonna make this work. I'll make this work. So he's saying what Gojo's infinity is basically like a barrier slash dip. He's contexting it as like maybe a different universe. If you want to say that Goku will be able to break into it, will Goku have the capacity to break into it? Is what he's saying, and he's basically showing like space, like this is the spatial matter, the spatial manipulation, and like the breaking the barriers between like time, space, and dimensions and things like that. That's basically the same thing as breaking through Gojo's infinity. That's why he brought up Gotenks as an example. That's why he brought up Buhan ripping through the universe. That's why he brought up Goku's aura literally being felt from the Kaioshin realm, which is outside of the planet. You know what I'm saying? That's why he's bringing all this up. I know what I'm listening to, bro. My brain farted for a second, bro. My fault, bro.
But Goku can also target space with his attacks, as I've just made consistent through his ki traveling space times, weaker opponents breaking space, and his battle with Hit.
Oh yeah, his battle with Hit. That is true.
Goku's punches or Kamehameha waves would just get through Gojo's infinity as they are, as the barrier would simply be overpowered by higher levels of spatial manipulation. There is an argument to say Gojo's infinity works on an atomic level though, but this is likely only talking about his use of red, as after he uses it on this random curse spirit, Miguel says this is the limitless jutsu Geto was talking about, a precise manipulation of curse energy at an atomic level to control space. Even with this though, there are arguments for ki acting on an atomic level as well. It's stated that Mecha Frieza was reduced to atoms by Trunks, and Elder Kai tells Shin that getting close to Goku and Beerus fight would lead his body to being disintegrated.
Wow, what? I don't remember that.
Goku and Beerus with God Ki being able to disintegrate you on a subatomic level, which is what the physics definition for disintegrate says, wouldn't be too far-fetched as progression for power systems. So here you have being generous to Gojo, his infinity works on an atomic level, but being generous to Dragon Ball, their ki works on the same level and even smaller in the God Ki forms. Without being generous, only red works on this atomic level, and the statements from Dragon Ball are just figures of speech. For the absolute last point of the infinity section of this video, I've heard some people argue Goku would get stuck on infinity and then Gojo could just hit him like that with his domain or purple, but this just isn't true. While you can get stuck or sit on infinity, this doesn't happen to anyone of note when fighting Gojo. It doesn't happen with Jogo, it doesn't happen with Mahito. The people who hit infinity can normally just back away afterwards.
Akira just be writing, I swear, Akira dead just be writing some straight BS, bro. Akira just be writing, bro.
A lot of people surprisingly misunderstand how Unlimited Void works. They think being able to perceive tons of information makes you immune to the domain somehow, but that's not true. The way Unlimited Void works is by making your first action never end. The way this is best described is say you're in Unlimited Void and you think apple. Instead of thinking apple, your brain will repeat A. Since the actions you try to take—
What? Yeah, I didn't even know that. That's actually absurd. What? Bro, imagine you fighting a nigga and you just thinking, and you can't even finish the word. You can't even finish the word, bro. This nigga said, A. Yo, you just get turned into Darius, bro. That's tough, bro. You got ISO speed level IQ.
That being said, there are ways around it. For example, if someone could, I don't know, fight without using their brain and having their body move for them.
Goku's cooking this nigga. That's all I had to hear. Goku's cooking this nigga. That's what you about to say, bro. Goku's cooking this nigga.
The fact Goku's brain is getting fried wouldn't matter, and he could still just beat down Gojo.
Yeah, bro, Goku's washing. What? That's all I needed to hear. Yeah, Goku's beating this nigga for sure. What they saying? Yeah, I'm totally effed. Goofy debate. Stand proud. Satoru, you maybe use Kaioken. I swear. Yamcha, Yamcha would probably be, bro. GB just scales so crazy. Yamcha probably would be able to beat him, bro. That's so crazy, bro. That is insane. Bro. I remember when Gojo was coming out, people were trying to say they were so quick to say he's better than Goku. They were so every single time a busted anime character comes out, they're so quick to say it, but it's never happening, bro. I appreciate y'all for watching. I shall see you in the next one.